Now that you've been working with these 5 patterns of G minor pentatonic, I want to add something to these patterns that's very important, and that is something called a tonic shape. It's very similar to what you were doing with the bar chords, dealing with the roots. As a matter of fact, the term root and the term tonic pretty much mean the same thing. A lot of people talking about music will use the two words interchangeably. So they're basically the note of the key you're in. So root and tonic are the same term. So the tonic for these G minor pentatonic scales is G. Now, that's the most important note out of the 5, since that's the key we're in. And you want to know where the G's are in all these patterns. Eventually, you can get to know the other 4 notes and their note names, but for right now, you want to know where all the G's are in those 5 patterns. And they show up 2 to 3 times in each pattern. And in the way they show up, they create a shape. Let's take a look at pattern number 1. Now this pattern actually starts on G, and then you have a G on the first string because the 6 and the first string are the same letter names, although that's 2 octaves higher. There's another G on the 4th string right there. So as you play this scale pattern, you want to be able to see in your mind, you want to be able to visualize these tonics so you know where they are. They create a shape, basically a triangle pointing to the right, you could say. You're right. So after you play the scale pattern, play the tonics just one at a time. And that'll help you get your mind wrapped around this. This is very important. You're going to find with all the vocabulary you work with on the guitar, chords, scales, arpeggios, lots of things, you're going to always want to know what key you're in, and that note's going to show up under your fingers 2 to 3 times. So there are 3 tonics in pattern number 1, and we'll call that the tonic shape. Tonic shape number 1. Okay, pattern number 2. There are 2 G's in this pattern, and it's that tonic that's on the 4th string, 5th fret, and then you have a G, a tonic on the 2nd string at the 8th fret. Now you might have noticed already these patterns overlap. So that tonic right here on the 4th string is the same tonic that we found in pattern 1. It's also in pattern 2. So after you play the pattern, just always play those tonics individually, and that'll help you get those memorized. Pattern number 3. Here you have a tonic on the 5th string, 10th fret, and the 2nd string, 8th fret. So there are only 2. Can you kind of hear that that note has more gravity, more weight to it? It sounds like the key you're in. Okay, pattern number 4. The 5th string, 10th fret, same G that was in pattern number 3. And then you have a G on the 3rd string at the 12th fret. Pattern 5 has 3 G's in it. The G here, the first one, the lowest one, is on the 6th string at the 15th fret. and it's at the 3rd string at the 12th fret, the same G that was in the tonic shape in pattern 4. And then you have the tonic on the 1st string. Remember, the 1st string and the 6th string are the same note names. So you have 3 tonics in that, and it creates the shape of a triangle pointing to your left. The other tonics are just 2 notes, and they basically just create kind of a diagonal shape, but your brain likes shapes. It will notice when you have certain configurations of notes on the fretboard. That's the advantage of the guitar when it comes to seeing what you're doing. You've got these strings, you've got these frets, it creates a grid system. And when you plot out these points on a grid system and create these diagrams we've been working with, then the brain sees these shapes. It helps you relate to them better, helps you remember them more. And even if you haven't consciously been doing it, subconsciously, that's how you've really been relating to all this material we've been working on, chords and scales. So let me reiterate the tonic shapes. Pattern number 1 was here. Pattern number 2 was here. Pattern number 3 was here. Pattern 4 was here. And pattern 5 was here. So if you play those, like every time you play the scale pattern, you're definitely going to get those down and be solid with it. Eventually you can play them just by themselves, like I did. Maybe get them down to where you could do them in any order. And then you'll find as we get more into transposing scales, moving them to different keys and learning licks and different things like that, musical phrases, that these tonic shapes are going to help you keep track of where you are and always know what key you're in.